Well,
Yes.
guess who's back?
We return from the dead once again.
Shady's back.
Yes,
Back
for
again.
our
Okay, no.
20th episode. It's crazy. Who'd have thought? You know, I think I said this before. I said this like most episodes. Like, oh shit, this number episode. We made it here? Wow, crazy.
Yeah, we have been doing things
Yes,
on occasion.
some days, sometime. Yes, for those
Feel
who
like
don't know, it's just a little off the 3-year anniversary since we started Layer 1. Schizopunk proper. It's damn, already
time
over
has
100
passed,
subscribers. It finally happened. Triple digits. That's crazy.
and we did nothing to celebrate.
No. Well, there is a plan. It's just, we need.
Trust the plan, okay? Patriots are in control.
Yes, indeed. Schizopunks are in control, actually.
True.
Yes.
This is canon to reality.
There will be something eventually. For very
Soon,
belated 100 subscribers, but just a thought that counts.
Yeah, they're gonna have no idea what hit them.
Nah, they won't.
By them, I mean, well, you'll see.
Them, TM, the capital them.
Them. No, them TM, but we're not talking about capital them TM. We're talking about lowercase them TM.
Oh, of course. All right. That needs to go in the glossary. Gotta make the distinction.
There is a distinction. It is real. It is there.
Yes.
And
for those of you who don't know, there is in fact an actual glossary on the website. You should look at it. Learn the lingo.
Learn things or not,
or just don't.
It's it's the current year. I mean, who learns anymore?
No one. You ask Grok to give you context on everything.
Oh God, no, don't.
Ask my AI assistant about this one. Really is just that whole Jarvis meme. Jarvis, can you fact check this, please? Jeez.
Oh man.
Anyway, bit of a random tangent. But still.
Yeah. Alrighty. UFO disclosure and how it's fake and/or gay.
Yes, exactly. Okay. The antithesis of the aliens are demons. It's like, what if none of it's real? It's all just psyops.
All bullshit.
It's all just redirects, misdirects. Oh God, yeah. The MIDI just doing a little trolling. That's
it do be doing some trolling. Like that's just a fact, right?
That's what it is. That they're actually the troll masters.
Mm-hmm. The world is run by trolls.
They probably invented the word.
I believe it. Where should we get started on this topic? There's a long history here, but yes. I guess instead of starting at the beginning, we'll start, I guess, where most people would be familiar with today, right? With the big kind of quote unquote disclosure leaks, right, in recent years about, Pentagon, black budget UFO research programs, the fucking footage that I think it was the Navy confirmed was real footage of UFOs that was leaked in 2017 by fucking Tom DeLonge from fucking Blink-182. I can't believe that's just a fact of reality.
Yeah, that's insane. Really?
Like,
Him of all people, not some like 4chan schizo or nah,
and
just
not some like ufologist, right? Not
yeah.
anybody like
MUFON
not like
maybe? Nah.
yeah, no. Instead of it's was fucking Tom DeLonge. That's actually insane.
Shall merge
But
real. Just get sillier
yeah,
today.
it gets wild. But I guess the wild part, increasingly, right, is why.
Yeah, why
Right,
sudden?
that's the big question. If you look around the the boards, the forums, anywhere and everywhere that conspiracy and whatever shadowy rumors about what's going on in places of power um are discussed, you'll find people asking like why and why now, like what's going on here.
It's yeah, it's the
Y-
weird like kind of 180 of, you know, the committee, broad term for that. It encompasses all of them, but you know, where you spend decades, like all the way right from Roswell, all the way up to relatively recent, of full denial, full like you're crazy, conspiracy, schizos, UFOs aren't real, you know. Area 51, you're crazy. None of that's what are you talking about? All of a sudden, yeah, you have Pentagon and the Navy just going like, "There's footage. We don't know what this is." Ooh. And then you have
yeah,
like
yeah,
actual like, you know, quote unquote former government or military people also going on like, you know, speaking to the US House committee and stuff like that of just like, "Oh
yeah,
yeah, there's real. It's all real. Aliens, we have bodies, we have, you know, we've
yeah. We
met
have
aliens,
recovered
we
materials,
yeah,
that shit.
yeah." And it's just like,
But
okay,
of course, we don't get to see any of it,
no, no,
right?
no. No. Just your
None of this
grainiest,
evidence actually
the
is shown.
shitty, grainiest, ambiguous footage you could possibly find from like the worst
Yeah,
thermal camera ever made on Earth.
that could be anything.
Yeah, it's like, oh yes, this little white dot. Ooh, spooky. What could this be? We don't know. You know, and then the
Right.
whole side of it too of rebranding to UAP that they suddenly started doing. It's like, oh, we have to move away from the UFO stuff. It's UAP now to be more
Yeah.
vague and mysterious and, you know, but also just be like, it's that whole thing of I wonder if it's a controlling of the
Well, it,
language,
it
how
is
they
it,
do
it is
with
explicitly
yeah.
it is explicitly to reframe um kind of the because at this point in time, like UFO, even though it means right unidentified flying object, right, it's a neutral term.
Yes.
Culturally, when you hear UFO, you think of a flying saucer with little green
Yes.
dudes inside of it, right?
Very
So
specific.
they're trying to they're using UAP to reframe what they're discussing in a more respectable sense, right? To make it more serious seeming, right? We're not gonna use UFO because that's associated with little green men, right? And
Mhm.
hotels in Nevada called the Little Alien, right? Um, with fucking little fucking green men merch in the fucking gift shop, right? We're using UAP because we're big boys, unidentified aerial phenomena, right? Like, eh, I I could see why they would do that either which way, right? In terms of like if this was
Yeah.
like legit or not, just because either way you'd want to reframe the conversation to be more serious.
Yes, exactly.
Um,
And even though they're the ones who made UFO all, you know,
e- e-
crazy conspiracy, they're the ones who did that.
yeah,
They pushed it, and it's just like, uh, thanks.
even though like U.S. Air Force investigatory like committee like members are like on record saying, yeah, anytime anyone comes to you with any kind of report or whatever, just deny it, deny. That is official U.S. Military like procedure from like half a century ago, right?
Yes.
They literally at one point told Project Blue Book, right? Like, don't even like, you're not here to actually do like proper scientific investigations. You're here to debunk, right? That is
Yes.
the goal. You're here to debunk, not to find out what's actually going on. You're here to again deny, deny, deny. That was the protocol for half a century plus.
Yes. And
Why has that
then,
changed?
yeah, all of a sudden, they're just like, you know what? Let's start talking about it. Let's start flooding all the corners of the internet with, you know, just disclosure. Just like, yeah, like I was saying, people coming out in front of the government being like, yes, this, that, and whatever,
Yeah,
all the
of
crazy
former
stories that come out
CIA.
in the last, yeah, CIA, Air Force, you know, whatever.
Of course, the problem, right, is, well, I don't know about you guys, but personally, it's a personal kind of principle of mine to not trust feds. I don't know what to say.
Yes, yes.
As much as I would like to believe these people, I see, former CIA, former top of Air Force, whatever the fuck. I go, well, I don't
I don't know about that.
know.
Hmm, this sure
Is this enough?
glows.
And here's the thing too. This is why I was kind of mentioning earlier. There's a long history of this because there's a long history of this. This is not the first time. If this is all a lie, which I suspect it is, this is not the first time that the American people have been lied to about unidentified flying objects and events surrounding them. It's not the first time, right?
No, no, of
Uh,
course not. Yeah.
a popular incident, of course, is the Paul Benovitz case, where Richard Doty, he was a special agent for the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, right? Which, wow, if that doesn't glow, I don't know what does, right?
Yeah. God
Um,
damn.
and he was assigned to surveil and feed disinformation to a man by the name of Paul Benowitz, uh, who was a just a red-blooded American. I believe he was also a veteran, right? So he served this country and proudly in the Second World War, and he was a hobbyist, right? He liked
Mhm.
tinkering with radios and all that stuff, and I forget the exact details. But one day, back in I believe it was the 70s, he starts picking up signals, right, from Kirkland Air Force Base, just outside of Kirkland Air Force Base, and he starts seeing weird things. So he reports this to the Air Force, right? They send Richard Doty, right? And this is the middle of the Cold War, right? So despite this being, by all intents and purposes, a patriotic American, a loyal veteran who proudly served his country, they didn't trust him. They didn't want, because the reality was that he wasn't picking up, you know, UFO alien signals. He wasn't documenting alien spacecraft. He was documenting and accidentally um, intercepting classified Air Force signals and top secret aircraft projects. But despite this man's background, they didn't trust him, right? They didn't. Ooh, what if he,
Mm.
gives this information to the Soviets, right? Um, so for 20 years, they fed this man bullshit that the U.S. government was in contact with aliens, that there's this secret uh, UFO slash government base uh, under Dulce, New Mexico, right? If you ever heard of the Dulce stuff, that's right. Everything about Dulce all the conspiracies, all the rumors, that all comes from an Air Force Office of Special Investigations psyop. uh, not only
Of
that,
course.
not only that, but they basically drove this man insane, right? At one point, they broke into his home, replaced his computer with an exact the same type of one, exact replica, and made it seem as if aliens had come in contact with him. They flew him up around Dulce and had a whole fucking set of fake like alien versus humans battle set in fucking Dulce on the top of the Dulce uh mountain range or whatever. Um they drove this man insane. He had a complete mental break. He thought he was being surveilled by aliens and men in black and all this shit. And eventually he had to be committed. This man's life was ruined just because he happened to be a autistic little hobbyist who picked up a few top secret radio signals and photographed a few top secret fucking aircraft, right?
Yeah.
And the worst part of all this is that members of the UFO community were a part of this psyop as well. Famously, Bill Moore, the author, by the way, who broke the Roswell story, right? Before his 1980 book, The Roswell Incident, no one knew about the Roswell incident. Like no one, like you go back to the 70s, no one would have like what Roswell crash? Like what are you talking? Like what is that? Like no one would have known about that. It was not until Bill Moore's book, um, that people that first entered kind of the public consciousness, right? Um, Same thing with the Philadelphia experiment too. Actually, uh, he co-wrote the Philadelphia Experiment Project Invisibility. I think the year before the Roswell incident book. Yeah, he helped. Oh, he also helped later on in the 80s. He helped circulate the Majestic 12 documents, a famous UFO conspiracy hoax. Um,
We will be getting to.
so yes, that's the big question marks and parentheses around that. We'll that's for another day though. But anyway, so yeah, that's just one case. One example. I mean, he purported that there was other um co-conspirators in the UFO community, but he was the only one who came out and said it at a 1989 MUFON conference. He admitted to helping the Office of Special Investigations disinform, psyop, and completely mind break Paul Benowitz, so that there were other members of the UFO community who had helped. Right. In fact, Bill Moore even admitted that he was one of the people who broke into Paul Benowitz's home and did the whole, computer switcheroo. And so it's important to note, by the way, that Paul, Bill Moore, Paul Benowitz, Richard Doty, like Bill Moore, as I said, he broke the Roswell case, Philadelphia experiment, Majestic 12. If you look into just who Bill Moore got his information from, again, the Office of Special Investigations. I don't know if it was Richard Doty exactly, but people associated with him fed him information about Roswell. Right, a lot of the information from uh, that he got that went into the Roswell incident book is information that's just entered the public consciousness now, which is to say that it seems all but likely that the story of the Roswell crash is itself also uh, from a government psyop conducted against Bill Moore for whatever reason, whatever he he got close to. The Philadelphia experiment too, as well.
Hmm.
It's like if you trace back so many of the popular UFO conspiracies and folklore, so much of it goes back to government psyops, right? To the government lying to people, telling them about, you know, like underground bases with reptilians and greys and all this shit, UFO crashes
Yeah.
for the explicit purpose of hiding something, right? Secret
Yes.
operations, top secret aircraft or other weapons, you know, whatever kind of signal shit they were working on. Um, um,
Yeah.
I'd recommend watching the uh documentary film Mirage Men,
Yes.
2013 documentary. A very great documentary that covers um so much of this stuff. Uh, it's great film. That exposes primarily the Benowitz case, but a lot of this, right, of how supposed disinformation, right, a bunch of spooks come in there, a bunch of UFO researchers, and these poor bastards, believing them, thinking, oh yeah, we're getting the goods, right, we're getting the top secret, information from the horse's mouth, but of course they're being lied to, right. Another thing Mirage Man goes into is the highly suspect origin of cattle mutilations,
Yes.
right?
Yes, because it is
Uh,
tied to Benowitz here, and you know they had him
yes.
convinced that cattle mutilations were the aliens, and obviously that's stuck ever since. Now that's the big like
hmm
anytime someone says cattle mutilations, it's like, oh yeah, the alien thing.
hmm They even had a lady call in, not just to Paul Benowitz, but I think some like UFO. It might have been Coast to Coast. I'm not entirely sure, but some like UFO like radio program, right, some conspiracy radio program, talking about her experience witnessing an alien cattle mutilation. Right? They
Hmm.
had someone fake that.
Yeah.
Some Air Force lady fake being like seeing a cattle mutilation and like being an alien abduction victim, right? And all for it to turn out that they were using this story. It's it's if you look at a lot of the evidence, it's strongly implied that what ended up happening is the government decided to conduct an underground nuclear test to see what would happen. Uh, hey, a bunch of radiation spreads into a bunch of nearby farmland, a bunch of fucking cows start dying. To avoid any kind of responsibility, to avoid having to do anything to you know help these poor farmers because of the fuck up they caused, right? Their fuck up.
Mm.
Instead of doing any of that, they sent out special teams, right? They sent out special fucking teams of military men to go and kill and cut up cattle, right? Oftentimes they would target ones that they believed were particularly dosed up with radiation, but they would kill them, cut them up, make it look like it was some kind of surgical thing, and just let the rumors about aliens kind of that they started just kind of spread,
Yes.
right?
Yes. The
At one
so yeah,
point,
the fact that the government has a like a Black Ops wet work cattle mutilation squad is
yeah,
so much more funny
that's
than aliens.
it's infinitely more insane too, right? You're
Insane,
just
of
like, wait, wait,
course.
wait.
Yes.
You're like, wait, what? So wait. So because they didn't want to take responsibility and have to like actually help the people they fucked over, because they decided to conduct a really stupid underground nuclear test. They just faked alien cattle mutilations. They had like whole black ops teams of dudes, right, and all black, kitted up, as sneaky as possible, going out to little bumfuck nowhere to fucking kill and surgically fucking mutilate the corpses of a bunch of fucking cattle who were fucking Chernobyl tier, all because of their fuck up and the radiation seeping into the soil and the grass that the cows ate and all that shit, right? Absolute fucking insanity. And then at one point, if you watch Mirage Men, there's a testimony from a Dulce, a cop who was investigating these happenings as they were occurring, right? It's the 80s. It's peak cattle mutilation season time, right? He's investigating, right? Because this is a big deal. He's like, this is my community. I want to know what's going on. He's investigating. I think at some point after hearing the testimony of this of the psyop lady that I mentioned, right?
Yes.
He goes out himself to investigate, and he sees a UFO, right? And he freaks out. He's like, "Holy shit! This is real." But then he goes, "Wait a minute! No, 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 no! This can't be real." Right? Like his rational brain, like at this pivotal moment, completely overwrites his like animal fucking superstitious brain. He's like, "Wait a minute! This isn't that like what? This isn't no. This isn't UFOs, alien. They're not real. That cannot be like a UFO." And so he stops. He stops his cop car. The UFO flies overhead. He takes a better look. It's not a UFO. It's a fucking like black unmarked helicopter that's like some specially he surmised because he couldn't hear shit, right? There was
Hmm.
some top secret helicopter specifically designed to like not make he could hear it, but like he had to actually listen to hear, the rotor, right? It was largely silent though. Like he had to actually pay attention to hear the burning. You know what
Yeah.
helicopters sound like.
Of course.
But they had managed to kind of muffle it, and they had attached lights, right? Big old colorful lamp lights that were, doing the whole fucking Close Encounters of the Third Kind dance, right? Specifically designed to make it look like it was a UFO. And he's like, no, that wasn't a UFO. That was a some kind of top secret, unmarked, black military helicopter that had been placed out there. I had been lured out there to have this. It was a set. I had been lured onto a set effectively to be convinced that what was happening was alien UFO related when really it was them. It was these fuckers, right? It was Kirkland, right? It was the military. It was the dumbasses who had decided it would be a good idea to do a nuclear test, like basically right beside a bunch of farmland.
Yeah. It's so fascinating of how weird and elaborate and specific all of that charade became, and it's just been ongoing for
Mm-hmm.
decades of like
Yeah.
just to avoid accountability and to misdirect people from whatever
Yeah.
shit they were up to, like, oh, you could use
Yeah.
it was the Cold War, blah blah blah. We don't want the Soviets knowing anything. We have to psyop the shit out of our own people to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's just like
Maybe
it
maybe we
got
could
so out of
distract them
hand.
from the. Yeah.
And with that whole Benowitz thing, it's so funny that it just 100%, like, obviously there's so many other cases of this, but real proof that the whole gang stalking and targeted individual shit is just real. Like, they'll just be like, all right, that guy, we're
Yes.
gonna we're gonna make that guy go insane.
Yeah. That's the thing. It is real. That's always the tough part when it comes to discussing like targeted individual,
Yeah, it's like, oh,
that
okay,
kind of stuff. Is
schizo,
like,
gonna take your meds yet? It's like, ah, no,
but that's
this is real.
actually
They just do
happened.
this.
It
Yeah,
has actually happened. And like I said, this was just a guy who was just a hobbyist, right? He wasn't special really in any
yeah,
kind of way. He wasn't any kind of threat. They just decided, oh, this man, well, fuck this guy, dude. he's listening into our shit just because he's a little, he's a little acoustic. Fuck this guy. We're gonna drive him insane. We're gonna make him lose his mind. Right?
Yeah.
This has happened before, right? Um, and of course, Paul Benowitz, he died never knowing
Yes.
any of this, right? Um, in fact, Mirage Man, they interviewed Richard Doty, and he's like, yeah, when I years later, I visited him in the institution. He was institutionalized, and I told him like, this is bullshit. I lied to you. This was all a lie. And of course, what did Paul Benowitz say? He gave him a wink, and he said, I know they're just telling you to say that.
Oh. Oh man.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they could do that to one guy, they could, in the age, right, of mass information networks, they could do that to plenty of people, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
fake
what
doctor some footage, some really grainy
that's
ass footage. Tell a bunch of pilots or whatever the fuck, CIA operatives, to go and tell stories about, recovered materials and all this shit. Let's fucking psyop Tom fucking DeLonge, right? Because again, when you think about it, like, why Tom DeLonge? And it was just like, well, that's why Tom DeLonge is because people would go, why Tom DeLonge, right? It makes a
yes.
good story.
Yeah, it brings even extra attention that just like, yep, the most
Yes.
random possible. It wasn't some UFO conspiracy guy, it wasn't some military guy, it was just him. Just,
Yes.
musician, interesting. Why?
Yeah.
What's the point? And then that's why everyone's constantly, well, for years now, everyone's always yelling like, "Oh, Project Bluebeam, Project Bluebeam!" you know. Now anything that happens, people just immediately point to that and be like, "Oh, it's fake. It's all. It's they're gonna fake an alien attack. They're gonna do this, that, whatever." And everyone's still waiting on like the real. That's what everyone's always been waiting for. It's like, oh, when are they actually gonna Project Bluebeam? When are they gonna be like,
Yeah.
here's real footage of like a city getting wiped out by UFOs or
Yeah.
whatever? And it's like, I was waiting with bated breath, and they just keep drip feeding all these little things, these little
Right.
little reports.
Yeah. Well,
These
and
like,
of
oh, we
course,
uncover all the here have all these CIA documents of the last like 70 years. Have fun, kids. There's a bunch of crazy shit
right.
in there.
And of course, the fun part about that too is that, like, well, it's never gonna happen,
No,
right? In
no, we
fact, Project Bluebeam itself is probably one of these psyop stories, right?
control both sides of it. You have the
Yeah.
people be like, oh, aliens are real, and it's like, nope, it's always been the government, and it's just like it's some weird blur in between of like, yes, it's always been the government, but like, are they
But it's
actually
not for
gonna
some kind of
fake
crazy.
yeah, they're like, oh, they're gonna
Yeah.
fake it in one world government shit because oh, we gotta fight the aliens, guys. Like, ugh.
It's like, no, like, they
No.
don't need to do that. What the fuck? Did, like, it's like, no. What this is all about again is just misdirecting people,
Yeah,
distracting people, getting them to focus on something other than whatever it is they're trying to hide, right? And again, we don't know, right? It,
yeah,
it took
it's
us, like, again, like half a century to find out about Paul Benowitz, the reality behind that. Um, Roswell, reality behind that, Project Mogul, all that shit. Um, the Philadelphia experiment, right? Like, all these, Majestic 12 was more quickly debunked, but still, like, all these stories are just like, man, they're great stories. They're kind of a part of like American folklore at this point, right?
yeah,
Every year, right? There's like a Roswell UFO festival you can go visit, and then, all this jazz, right? People travel to fucking Dulce, right, to see if they can, find evidence of the fucking the secret base underneath, right? Some real
Ah,
legend tripping shit. Go watch that episode.
of course.
So like this is just a part of the culture now, but the reality um always it takes its sweet time, right? If it ever comes up at all. I mean, there's I'm, there's plenty of other stories where it's just like, was this fake? Was this a psyop? Was this legit? I don't know. I mean, Roswell, for instance, we know the official Project Mogul story now, but is that even legit? There's some questions about that still, right? Like they um maybe they were hiding something else, right? Not aliens, not a UFO, but something more than a really advanced weather balloon, right?
Yeah, it is weird too because
It
another
wasn't
little bit
a
of
weather balloon. It was a spy balloon, but whatever.
it's this weird thing too with all the UFO stuff and then the deniers who are just like, oh, it's just top secret military craft, blah blah blah. It's like, oh, they have all this future tech and shit, and it's like that's also like, yeah, I'm sure they have advanced stuff and whatever. But why? What's the point? Like like almost a century, they've always had like future tech, but it never gets seen or revealed, or it's never used in combat. It's never, you don't have the U.S. just going like, oh yeah, let's, you can conquer the Earth if you have all these like crazy future like jet fighters and
Exactly.
helicopters and all this like, you could totally turn it into a complete police state if you had all this tech. And it's like, okay, but then it's just R&D? It's just, you're just doing research, having fun, and making people go
Yeah.
insane thinking it's aliens, and it turns out it's just some boring ass plane that the Air Force is never going to get to lay their hands on for no reason. It's like, oh, we just because we can, all this billions and funding and probably black budget shit that just nothing. It's just nothing comes to fruition from all this shit that they're supposedly concealing and hiding, and it's like,
Right.
what's the
Exactly.
point of any of it? Like, what is it? Like, what's you can't even begin to like pick a direction of what it could possibly be as to why they're doing all this, and why now that they're suddenly being like, yes, UFOs real. We have we have shitty footage. We have all these testimonies. It's like, okay, so all those decades of gaslighting people into thinking it was fake and a lie just gets flipped on its head suddenly because
Right. But again, they also spent decades psyoping people into thinking it was real.
into
Right. I
thinking
think
it
that's the other.
was aliens, but now it's like, oh, we don't know what it is. Oh, it's not. We talked about that with the last
Right.
video when the
Yeah.
Jersey drone shit was going down. Of like, oh, the government
Yes.
doesn't know who it is, but it's not an enemy nation, but it's also not the government, but it's also not aliens, and it's like, okay, what?
Didn't they turn out to like actually know what was going on there
Oh
all
yeah, I thought
along?
they one of the many stories that like, oh, Trump answered the question and then it immediately got buried within like 24 hours of you
Yeah.
know whatever they
Yeah.
stated
If
it
I remember
was. It
right,
was
it
just
it
some
was
drone tests or whatever.
yeah, it was military drone test.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just like and not only did Trump reveal that, but he also revealed that like the Biden administration knew,
Ah,
and they
yes.
just said they lied. They said
Yeah,
they didn't know when they totally knew the whole fucking time.
yeah, yeah. They were being all weird and ambiguous about it, and it's like, oh no, it
It's,
was
it's just like
military
why
drones.
would
And it's like,
like
oh, that whole you ran with that whole story
what?
of, oh yes, the Chinese mothership of drones was
Yeah,
roaming New Jersey, and it's like,
it's just
what?
like what the fuck, dude. And then the whole time it's just like, oh yeah, you know how everyone was saying it's probably drones from the nearby Air Force Base where all these sightings are occurring? Yeah, they were drones from the Air Force Base that
Yeah,
was
yeah. It's
right next to
like,
all the sightings. It's just like why did you just fucking say that
what was the point
then?
of all
Why
of
did
that?
you
Yeah,
lead people on? Um, like surely these drone tests were super top secret, super important. enough to lie about that, right? I mean, everyone and their mom is, just weaponizing drones
It's
now.
like, what were they expecting anyway, just in general, like straight to the why were they testing drones in your populated areas in New Jersey? Like, surely you could, if you didn't want this to become like a little sensational story, you could have just not done that. You could have done it in the middle of fucking Alaska or something,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You
Like,
have, like,
you have
come on,
millions
like
of
the
miles of
military has
federal
plenty of
land and
bases in
uh,
the middle of nowhere,
yeah, it's like, oh
right?
no, we're gonna do it right near like the East Coast, like fucking yeah. And you have all that, and then they just keep shitting out all these unclassifying all these government documents that just keep adding fuel to the schizo fire of whatever this is.
Right.
Of just like we talked about the other day because it just happened. I literally just found it. The talk about the it's a CIA document about the KGB about a
Right.
alien encounter in Siberia where and it's just like we talked about it. It was I remember seeing a thread about it on 4chan. God rest its soul. It's dead.
Yeah. Rip.
Rip. You know, I remember seeing the thread and I'm like, oh, this is a funny X post, like the usual. Neat little story, cool. And then the CIA just drops a document and like, yep, real reports. KGB straight up, we found out that the KGB had a bunch of people killed and turned to stone by an alien in Siberia out of a UFO, and it's just like, what?
You're like, what the fuck?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Genuine insanity. And you're just like, what? Why? Why?
Yeah, found some other NSA document about like Arecibo message shit and like oh yeah, the we were trying to contact aliens. We had this what did they call it? Project Ozma, in the 60s. It's like, yep, we're trying to speak to aliens. It's like, oh, so the NSA is involved too. Okay, cool. Of course, all of them are, but
You're right. Yeah.
it's like, yeah, well, what else is new? And it's just like, what are they all hiding? What are they misdirecting from? Is it really just
Right.
advanced bread and circuses shit? It could all just be nothing. It could just be the biggest troll ever for no reason.
I think that there is a purpose behind it. We don't know, right? It's like
Yeah.
again, like so with all these stories, there's not any one big overarching reason. It's clear that like UFOs and aliens are kind of just a go-to distraction
Yeah,
for the
they
government,
just
for the
co-opt
military.
it for whatever little story, like the cattle mutilation shit. Just like, oh, aliens.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
those spooky helicopters out in the Arizona desert? Aliens, UFO.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Roswell shit. Oh, wow. Aliens? Weather
Oh
balloon?
shit, we
Oh,
can't.
crop
Oh shit.
circles?
These fucking UFO investigators are getting close to the fact that we're totally like breaking international like law to spy on the Soviets. Tell them it was aliens, quick. All right,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
a myriad of reasons, and that's probably what's going on here as well. There's probably a lot of these fucking UFO artists, in looking for aliens, or have been stumbling a little too close to some things, various things, whatever, again, it could be anything from spying on other nations to just complete nuclear fuck ups,
Yeah.
to, some artist, stumbling upon secret uh projects accidentally. Any number of things could have triggered this. For all we know, Tom DeLonge legitimately got close to something weird and wacky and insane, and they went, "Oh shit, get the alien psyops guys on this guy."
Yeah. Exactly. And just
And we'll probably never know the reality of what exactly went down there is going on right now until like 20 years, 40
oh
years
yeah,
from
yeah. A couple
now.
decades we'll get pieces again, it'll just be pieces
Declassify
like what
it.
we have now of between the 40s and 80s and 90s and shit. It's just we have all these pieces, but like it's still, you know, too ambiguous and too like all over the place to be like, ah, yes, it's this exact thing. We know what this is. It's like, nope, it's just this is just going to happen to us too. People will be looking and like you're saying, a few decades they'll be looking back at this, and it'll still just be random pieces of whatever, and it's like I can't fit any of this together. It's all just weird like spook ops, and
Yeah.
you know,
That's that, right?
yeah, it's what more
That's
is
the
there to it?
reality. Um, there's- this is kind of one of the more pessimistic episodes, I guess, because they're
Yeah.
like with most other things, it's like, okay, well,
You know,
there's probably an answer. We can guess here, but like with this, it's just like,
you can say the truth is out there all you want. I don't know if you're gonna find it, or you'll end up
right?
like Mr. Benowitz here. You know,
Yeah,
you'll get
exactly.
close, and then you'll be so gaslighted, you'll be just going insane. You know,
Yeah,
and thanks to the internet, that's made it easier. This internet AI shit, it just helps a little. It sprinkles a little more like confusion into the mess. Now it's like, okay, then you just push people to being opposites of that, of being just completely paranoid like denialists. It's like, oh, everything's a psyop, every single post, everything anyone ever says is just fake,
yeah.
reality isn't
Oh yeah.
real.
Oh yeah. Unironically, you see that where it's just like, wow, people are really losing it, huh?
Yeah.
It's sad to see. Um, but I think, as we've kind of talked about before, this is kind of a natural consequence of the internet, right? The internet
Yes,
age.
making the world a lot smaller.
Well, I think particularly how the internet is a tool for kind of just a complete shattering of reality, right? Like reality um is a thing of the past, right?
Yeah.
Because of the internet, because of digital technology. I'm reminded the Kingdom of Bullshit speech from Mr. Robot. If anyone's seen that, where Elliot Alderson, the main character, is kind of having this mental break, and I won't spoil it, but this other character is just like he's having this mental break. Elliot is, you know, talking about stuff not being real, and this other character is like, what, and like, is any of this real? Like, look around you. This is a world. We live in a world built on fantasy, right? Synthetic emotions with all the chemicals and pills and drugs we take, uh, constant psychological warfare in the form of advertising,
Yeah. And
right? And all
then
this kind of public relations bullshit,
all the
constantly,
shit in your food and
all the
water
shit in your
and
food and you eat and everything you drink, fucking in the fucking air, man.
yes, yeah. Like, oh yes, there's microplastics in your brain and your blood
Yeah,
and your endocrine disruptors in the water, and like all this crazy shit, and it's
boom,
just like, oof.
right? How the the how the media, right, you know is painting over reality, right, with narratives, right, with messages, right, how we're isolating ourselves in social network bubbles, on the website internet bubbles, um and he goes on about how, like real, dude, like we haven't lived in anything real, like anything remotely close to real since the turn of the century, right?
Yeah,
We threw reality out into the garbage in favor of numbing ourselves to the decay of our society, right? We decided, we're gonna snack on a bunch of fucking, chemicaled up, fucking genetically modified slop, right?
I
Um,
love Red 40.
in our expensive ass like rent apartments, because we can't buy homes because they fucking these fucking you know housing market, all these houses trademarked by corporations, who only care about number go up, more number go up, right? All this just, like, and that he ends it with you know, you have to dig pretty deep before you can find anything real. We live in a kingdom of bullshit, you know.
Yes.
So just say so don't talk about fucking real to me, dog. Like
Mhm.
none of it, all this is about as real as the fucking beef in your fucking Big Mac, dog. Like,
Yeah, and to the pessimistic part, I don't think we're getting out of this cloud of unreality literally without the dissolution of the internet as a concept and a
oh, with the
infrastructure.
dissolution of the modern world,
Well, yeah, of
basically.
course,
Yeah,
exactly, yeah, all the way up to the top. But
yeah, yeah.
without
There's
the
no. We're in a.
collapse TM, it ain't gonna magically, oh, what the megacorps and the committee suddenly be like, all right, we're done. Have fun, guys. We had enough
Of course not.
psyoping you for 100 years. Have fun. You know,
Yeah, enjoy
you think that
yourselves.
they're just gonna
No,
let up? And then it's like, oh, it's like everyone tries to be like, oh, stop blackpilling. We won. Remember, we won the election and all this crap. And it's like, do they know?
yeah, it's just like, wow. I think this is a topic for a completely different time and place, but a small little tangent. I genuinely think that like this last election, this last election season, this last election may have been one of the last ones in our
The
lifetime,
last election, yeah.
right? Well, because if nothing changes, if nothing happens as a result, like that, I think like I've talked about this with I think you and a few other people before. That in some sense, Democrats and the left kind of just need to let Trump do his thing. Because if they don't, that's the end of any and all trust in
Yeah.
the democratic system. Like, whatever you think, whatever critique you may have about demagoguery and all this shit. I mean, a lot of the stuff we have to acknowledge the fact that a lot of the stuff that maybe not the exact stuff he's doing, but a lot the mechanisms he's using to do them have been in place for forever. Um, right? These mechanisms have been used consistently for the past, over a century now. Um, and I think a lot of people are kind of waking up to that fact and going, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait." So let me wait. So the establishment presidents, the establishment goons can all do this stuff. They can all use this mechanisms. But the one time we vote in a guy who isn't this kind of political establishment guy, suddenly no, you can't do that. You're destroying what little faith remains in the electoral process, right?
Yeah.
If things aren't allowed to change, then people will resort to non-electoral means. That's just
Yeah.
the reality.
Yeah. No, and it's, this whole stuff, people shouting fascist and, oh, tyrant fascist. It's like, these people don't know what that is, period. Like that,
Yeah.
this is not that. This is still democracy. You'll wait
No,
until
yeah.
wait until a real fascist show
I
up.
was about to say, if you continue down this road, if Democrats and the left continue down this road, they're gonna live to see what a real fascist looks like.
Yeah.
And some real Kung Fu Panda, one often meets their fate on the road they take to avoid it type shit.
Yes.
Ah, man, that's such a good movie. Uh,
Yes, it is.
yeah, very very precarious situation. That's just like, man, like I don't know. This could all be solved if you like. This could all be avoided if you just let them send a bunch of Venezuelans back to Venezuela, dude. Like, just let them do it.
Yeah.
Especially if, especially if you're like a leftist, like a genuine leftist, not a liberal, but like a leftist, right? An economic leftist. You think you would want that, right? Because even Bernie fucking Sanders has come out and said, yeah, like immigration is like, oh, like mass immigration is a weapon against the working class, and it's
Yeah.
true, right?
Yes.
Like what, like whoa, bringing in a bunch of people who will like work for nothing, like completely like fucks over your like the native working class because now they have to compete with all these people. There's less jobs, less houses. Whoa, who would have
Yeah.
fucking thought? It's mind-boggling that
Mhm.
like the left has, it's not anymore, but like if you'd gone back in time to like 2012, 2013, me and told me like, yeah, the left is on the like mega corporation side of this debate, I would have been like, what? Um,
Yeah. Yeah. You're glorious revolutionaries, sir.
yeah, you're Mick revolutionaries. That's what they are.
Nick revolutionaries. Uh,
Add that to the glossary.
your BlackRock commissars as
Yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah. And you know what? To go back to what we were talking about, maybe that's what all this UFO shit is a distraction for. It's just the fact that everything is fucking falling apart. And everything is just going to absolute shit. Inflation, off the charts. Everything's expensive as hell. There's barely any fucking jobs. And the ones that do exist don't even pay you enough to fucking survive on your own.
Yeah. And oh
And so
man.
they go, here, look at the UFOs. Look, aliens. Reddit updates.
Yeah.
God, I fucking hate everything.
Yes. And like we're not even at Mad Max 1 levels of the collapse yet, which is still a ways
Well, you know
off.
what they say. You know what they say. Slowly, and then suddenly, all at
Mm,
once.
yes.
Just just ask the citizens of the former Yugoslavia.
Yeah. Yeah. Slavia, there's so many options for such
So
things. People who actually did live through that shit.
the former Soviet Union, fucking there's so many examples you can point to of like, oh, like sometimes like it goes,
Like
well, a lot of times
a
how it tends to
country,
go
this
is it
country
goes from,
straight up experienced an actual apocalypse.
yeah, it sometimes does in fact just go from like 20 to 100 like in 3 seconds flat. Like
Yeah.
yeah, that just happens. That's how it works, right? So that, I mean, that's why I try to ring the alarms, but I honestly not as much anymore because I realize no one wants to fucking hear it. Everyone, again,
Yeah.
the tragedy of the fact that reality has been fucking murdered in the 21st century is that no one wants to hear it,
Yeah.
right?
Stick
No one, no one,
stick
no
the
one likes
fingers in
reality.
the ears and
Yeah,
la 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 away. I
yeah.
would hear
No one, no
you.
one wants. No one wants to. Yeah, it's just. Oh, I'm not listening. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. Right. My fucking narrative is more important than the truth, than the reality of the situation. Right.
Yeah.
Like it's genuinely almost comical to see you like, again, like seeing leftists like just shit all over working class people because they hold opinions they don't like,
Yeah.
and just siding with like the political class and like mega corporations on this stuff, right? And just like again, no reflection, no introspection over the fact that the left lost the working class vote to the Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
The Republican Party is now officially, whether you like it or not, the party of the working class. You have fucked up massively for that to be the case.
Yeah.
You have just fucked up. You have dropped the ball possibly harder than anyone's dropped the ball. Why? Because working class people are a bit crude, right? Because they're a bit,
Mm-hmm.
they have some spicy opinions, right? They don't, they're not progressives,
Yeah.
right? But working class people have never been progressives. They never will be, right? There's a reason fucking Lenin was like, oh shit, I gotta form a vanguard.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
um, like, get your shit together, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, again, for all the stuff that Trump is doing, like it or not, the reality underpinning that is that the Democrats are the most unpopular they've ever been since the popularity of the parties has been measured, right? They're
Yeah.
losing registered voters. They're pissing them away, right? What does that say, right? If you think Trump is an evil fascist incarnate, right, destroying democracy, what does it say about your side, quote unquote, that like the American people hate your side more still, regardless of that
Yes.
fact,
Yes.
right? That working class people, right, are going, we'll take that guy over you guys because you guys
Yes.
suck.
Yeah. This
But no,
whole,
there's no reflection. They're just blaming of the working class, right? That's all I've been seeing is just calling them uneducated, right? These people, they don't know anything, right? Talking as if they're just fucking peons who need to be fucking ruled
mm-hmm.
over. And it's just like,
Yes. Oh, you don't have a
this is why they
college
hate
degree.
you.
You shouldn't be allowed to vote. You know.
Yeah, right. You didn't take some fucking bullshit like political science class, then like you don't deserve to like have opinions. Look, my pol sci class matters more than your lived experience, the reality on the street that you witness every day, the decay that neoliberalism, globalism, multiculturalism have brought on to the West. Fuck your eyeballs, dude. Fuck all the pain, right? Fuck all the hardship that you've experienced, witnessed, seen your loved ones go through. My numbers matter more.
Yes.
It's just like how does that make you any different from the corpos? That all you care about is number, line, go up. Like, again,
Yeah.
whatever
Hyper
your take on
capitalism,
Trump
strongest
himself.
soldiers.
Yeah, exactly. The wildest fact of the past 10 years is yeah, seeing leftists become megacorp, like just God's strongest bootlickers for some fucking reason. Just because the political class and mega corporations occasionally say like trans rights or whatever.
Mhm.
It's just like, dude, like for all the bitching about rainbow capitalism or whatever, there's even more bitching, right? When they stop, right? When they capitulate to the right.
Yes.
It's like you wouldn't like why would you what? It's mind-boggling until you realize that the modern left is just fundamentally unserious, and was just effectively leftism just stopped existing after the fall of the Soviet Union
Oh yeah, no.
in, in any
Again, it's
genuine form.
the eternal problem of, you know, you have to group everything into left or right. That's how it is.
Yes,
It's just how it
that
is.
is
You
also a
know,
problem. Yes.
it's why like they've screwed up. You know, they don't realize that
Oh,
they're a coalition of, you know, ideologies and not just ultra almost like socialism type shit. They're just like, oh no, wait, we have, you know, the working
I,
class and like all these other aspects that you have to
I, th-
worry
I, th-
about. It's like, ah, no.
I think the real problem is that like it's been over 200 years now since those terms left and right were created. I think it's time to move beyond them, frankly, because what do they mean now, right? Like,
Oh yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't
what
mean.
are, what are,
They don't mean anything. It's just
what
a.
do they mean
It's
now?
a
Yeah,
blanket term for someone who is not a centrist. You know. But the problem is the window's
basically,
shifted so far left that like, you know, your the glorious right wingers are mostly just like 80s 90s like cosmopolitan liberals, and it's just like, ah, yes, of
well,
course.
even then though, like look at if you look at in aggregate of the modern left and right, you're just like, okay, so let me get this straight. The modern left is a bunch of like again, just go anywhere where people speak about politics and just okay, the left is just a bunch of f- free trade globalist progressives who want like more policing, but only of things they don't like.
Yes.
Right. Not actual crime, right? If you say edgy gamer words, that's what they want policed, right? That's what they want you thrown in jail for, right? Is edgy gamer words, not if you like rob a store or something. In fact, if you do that, you get a ticket, right?
Hmm.
um, no, that's just that you're just a victim of socioeconomic factors. Um, but if you say a gamer word, right? If you get a little heated in Call of Duty, you like whoa, right? Get a little heated on fucking Facebook or whatever. Your fucking Facebook uncle says something stupid like whoa, that's you
Ooh,
need
the
to be thrown in the gulag,
gulags.
buddy. Right? And then the right are protectionist, economically, how do you say, free trade skeptical, right?
Yeah.
Nationalistically minded, right? It's just like, okay, so like at least economic left and economic right just aren't things anymore because there's just been a complete flip,
Oh yeah.
right? There's just been a complete flip. I mean, fuck, the right are doing more socialist things these days than actual fucking socialists, right? Like what?
Yeah.
Like what is that? What's the deal with that? It's yeah, I don't. At this point, all these terms mean are like oh that's why it's again it's kind of infuriating when people like kind of dismiss like the culture war. Oh, you're just a culture warrior. That's just culture war bullshit. It's just like, but that's all politics is now, right?
Yes.
That's all left and right mean anymore. They mean cultural, social differences. Economic left and right do not exist anymore. That means fucking left and right like just mean nothing in those in terms anymore in economic terms. They mean jack shit, right?
Yeah.
Um,
But the problem with
all
this
that's left is the
whole,
cultural.
yeah, the whole problem, again, with the whole reality being killed forever is that I have a strange feeling that that's not gonna go away quietly. That's not gonna be like, oh, we should retire left and right. It's not right. It's not accurate anymore. It's like, no, they're gonna hold on to that
No, of course not.
until
Of
the
course they are.
very
Yeah,
end. You know,
of
it's
course,
gonna be
because that's how they hold on to power, right?
yes,
Is by dividing us. Is by going. Hey, look, you believe this, you're left. You believe this, you're right, right?
yeah.
So give us money, right?
Even when
Give your
still using those labels make are just complete like gibberish now. It just means nothing at all. It's like, oh yes,
yeah.
you're not with us. You're right, and it's like, uh, not exactly, but sure, whatever. I
It, it's
guess.
yeah. It's like when they call like turfs right wing. It's like these are radical feminists. They are not right wing, right?
Yeah.
I do not know how to tell you that. Just because they they're not trans feminist does not mean they are not left wing. Like what the fuck are you on about? Right? It's just
Mhm.
and of course the fucking like boomer morons who are like, oh, Nazis were left wing actually. It's just like, dude, shut up, bro. Shut up.
Oh, didn't you hear the socialist part of National Socialism?
It's just like, oh my god. As we've established already, you can in fact do what have been traditionally considered economically leftist things and still be a right winger. Just as you can do traditionally, right wing coded capitalist things and still be left wing. Fun
Yes.
fact. I also hate it when, liberals aren't left wings. Like, no, dude, they are. But they're pro cap. Okay, again, as we just established, that actually doesn't fucking matter anymore.
Yes. Oh man, went on a even extra pessimistic tangent here, but
We do that.
such as
We go on our
reality.
tangents.
Such as reality now. That's where we're at.
Yeah. But I do think that like as much of a tangent as that is, that it does cut
Very
to the heart of what
relevant.
we're talking
Yes.
about here. Yeah. Um in just that reality has been eviscerated. It's been removed from the spectra of human experience and largely, if not entirely, in the service of establishing narratives for various power structures. Very cool. Very epic. Very
Yes.
cyberpunk.
Once again, without the cool aesthetics, it's just
Man really just wants. Man, I'd be cool with the dystopia as long as it looked cool.
yeah, come on, man. Give me androids and arguments and whatever.
Yeah,
But
no.
alas, nah,
Sorry.
sorry.
Look.
The monkey's paw heard your wish, and you want just the dystopia? Hold the cyberpunk?
that that's a good one. I'm using that for something.
Honestly, I feel like that's
Well,
a good
then,
place to put the pin in it there. That's
yeah,
there's
that's
your
yep. For the great return of Layer One, we want to leave you with that.
yes.
Uh,
We'll be
yeah,
back again
just
soon.
just uh, yeah, or not. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
You know what they say. We live in a cyberpunk dystopia. Just the dystopia whole cyberpunk.
Come on, you could be at least like a real McDonald's employee, mess up my order, but no. Uh,
The one time they
it's
get it right.
the worst part, specifically despite me, targeted individual.
So true. So real. On that note, this
Yeah,
has been Layer One.
yes. 20th
We'll see you
episode. Goodbye.
Next time. Yep.